Good evening, children. Welcome to YEPMaster, the school foundation program. As you know, in chemistry subject, we have started discussing about the alkenes chapter, right? So, in the last week, we have focused on the nomenclature as well as the isomerism that we can see in the case of alkenes. So, alkenes are capable of exhibiting position isomerism, chain isomerism, and also the geometrical isomerism. So, we have even gone through some of the questions that are given or that are going to be expected in the case of examination, competitive examinations with respect to the nomenclature as well as the isomerism concepts. So, further moving into this topic alkenes chapter, let us focus on the methods of preparation of alkenes, how the alkenes are going to be prepared in the laboratory or in the how to prepare the alkenes in the laboratory conditions by using different starting materials. Before we proceed into the methods of preparation of alkenes, let us a small topic we have to cover, that is the degree of unsaturation. So, degree of unsaturation that can be given in the form of du, or it is also called as double bond equivalence, DBE. So, for example, alkene formula is given. When alkene formula is given, by using the formula we can even come to know the double bond presence. As you know, in the case of alkanes, the alkanes general molecular formula, if we observe, it is given as CnH2n plus 2. Whereas alkenes, we have discussed in the beginning of this chapter, the molecular formula is given as CnH2n. It is given as CnH2n. So, when you observe the number of hydrogen, the number of carbon atoms is taken as n, but when you observe the number of hydrogen atoms, so here alkenes are having 2 hydrogen atoms less, okay, 2 hydrogen atoms less than that of the parent alkanes, okay. So, therefore, here the double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation of a compound is generally taken as the hydrogen deficiency index, okay. So, for example, if we have a double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation equal to 1, in that case it means that we have one double bond in the molecule or we have one ring in the molecule. So, the molecule may be having a ring or may be having one double bond when the degree of unsaturation is coming out to be 1. If the degree of unsaturation is coming out to be 2, in that case the molecule may be having 2 double bonds or 1 triple bond or maybe 1 double bond and 1 ring or maybe 2 rings. So, using the double bond equivalence or degree of unsaturation, we can predict whether the molecule may be having a double bond or the ring, or the molecule may be having a double bond or a triple bond, a combination of a double bond and a ring, or any only ring presence may be seen with respect to this double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation, okay. So, how to calculate the degree of unsaturation or how to calculate the degree of double bond equivalence or the double bond equivalence can be calculated by using the formula. So, double bond equivalence equal to 2n1, 2 into n1 plus 2 minus n2 divided by 2. Here n1 indicates the number of carbon atoms present in the formula, okay. n2 indicates the number of hydrogens present in the formula. So, the double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation can be calculated by taking this equation, 2 into number of carbon atoms plus 2 minus number of hydrogen atoms divided by 2. So, let us apply this double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation calculations to the alkenes. Let us take the simplest molecule C2H4. Alkene, the simplest molecule is ethene, and let us have the formula as C2H4. So, here the number of carbon atoms N1 value is 2, number of carbon atoms are 2. N2 value, the number of hydrogen atoms are 4. Okay. So let us calculate the degree of unsaturation present in this formula. So the double bond equivalence DBE or the degree of unsaturation is equal to 2 into number of carbon atoms, that is 2, plus 2 minus number of hydrogen atoms, it is 4 divided by 2. So this will be 2 into 2, it is 4, plus 2 minus 4 divided by 2. So plus 4 minus 4 gets cancelled out. So it will be 2 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the double bond equivalence present in the molecule C2H4 is 1. Okay. So the C2H4 may consist, when du value or dBe value is coming out to be 1, the molecule may possess one double bond, or the molecule may be present in the form of a ring. Since we have 2 carbon atoms, so we can expect the presence of one double bond between the 2 carbon atoms. So this is the way we are going to calculate the double bond equivalence or the degree of unsaturation in the molecule. Let us take one more example so that you will be having a thorough examination or a clear idea about this formula. So let us take a C3H6. Okay. So here the number of carbon atoms is equal to 3, number of hydrogen atoms will be 6. Okay. So applying the formula, the double bond equivalence in this case will be equal to 2 into number of carbon atoms, that is 3, okay, plus 2 number of hydrogen atoms, it is 6 divided by 2. We know that 2 3 is 6, plus 2 and minus 6 by 2, plus 6 and minus 6 gets cancelled out, we will get a 2 by 2. 2 by 2 is nothing but 1. So we are getting the value as 1. So double bond equivalent in this case is 1. So when we get double bond equivalent is 1, in that case it may be having one double bond or it may be having one ring. Okay. So one ring may be present or one double bond may be present. So if we are going to keep one double bond in the molecule, we will get the alkene as a propene, CH3, CH double bond CH2. So this is a molecule which contain one double bond. So one double bond, so double bond equivalence is coming out to be 1. So it is satisfying. Similarly, if I am arranging these 3 carbon atoms in the form of a ring, so we are going to get the cycloalkane, that is cyclopropane, CH2, CH2, CH2. So we get a cyclopropane. Cyclopropane generally represented with a triangle, each corner indicating one CH2. So we have a ring in this case. So one ring is present here. So whenever we get double bond equivalence equal to 1, we may have one double bond in the molecule or one ring in the one ring is present for the molecule, or when double bond equivalents are coming out to be 2, in that case 2 double bonds may present, one triple bond may present, 2 rings may present, or a combination of a double bond and one ring is also possible. Okay. So this way we can easily identify or we can easily get the structure or the presence of double bond and a ring in the molecule from the double bond equivalence calculations. Okay. Right. Let us move on to our main topic, that is preparation methods of alkenes. So alkenes are to be prepared in the laboratory, since these are the hydrocarbons which are having unsaturation, and these are very essential while we are going to discuss at the end of this topic where we are going to use these alkenes. We have so many applications in the formation of polythene, we require alkenes. Okay. So polymer preparation, we require alkenes as a major starting materials. Okay. So in view of the importance of these compounds, for example, in order to ripen, artificial ripening of fruits, in order to ripe the fruits, we have to use the ethylene gas. Ethylene gas, generally the ethylene compound that is present in the generally used for artificial ripening of the fruits in the godams. So alkenes are play an essential role in that case also. So because of the variety of uses of the alkene compounds, we have to look for the methods of preparation of these compounds within the laboratory by using less number of steps, more yield of the alkene. Okay. So in this particular topic we are going to focus on the different methods that are available for the synthesis of alkenes. Okay. Let us start with the first one, that is a dehydration of alcohol. Dehydration, you know what is dehydration? So in summer season, generally if people get dehydrated, dehydration means loss of water molecule. Dehydration means loss of water molecule. So loss of water molecule takes place in this reaction. From where the loss of molecule, water molecule is taking place? From alcohol. So the dehydration of alcohol is used in the preparation of alkene. Okay, let us see. So alcohols on dehydration, they produce alkenes as a major products, okay. This reaction, generally the reaction takes place by the usage of a dehydrating agent. There must be a agent that is present so that which can easily abstract the water molecule, which can easily remove the water molecule from the substrate, that is alcohol is required. Okay. So we have supposed to use a dehydrating agents. The general dehydrating agent that we come across in the case of dehydration process is sulfuric acid. Okay, concentrated sulfuric acid at around 170 degrees centigrades we can employ for the dehydration process. So in the case of dehydration, we require a dehydrating agent. What is exactly happening in this case? If you observe the molecule, this is alcohol. Okay. So whenever we replace one of the hydrogen of alkane with the OH group, we get alcohols. Okay. So presence of OH group is there, OH group is present, and this hydrogen as well as this OH both are lost in the process as water molecule, as in the form of H2O they will go out. And because of, since these two carbons are losing one group or one atoms, thereby these two carbons are connected by a double bond. So a new pi bond is going to be formed between the two carbon atoms in this case. Okay. So here what is happening? Alcohols, by losing water molecule, converting into alkenes. Okay. So losing of water molecule, we can term it as dehydration. So alcohols on dehydration produces alkenes as the products. Okay. So alkenes are prepared from alcohols. So by using the dehydrating agents, we can remove easily water molecule from alcohol, and thereby we can produce the alkene as a major products. Okay, right. For suppose here we have taken a HCOH, losing of water molecule takes place and we get alkene as a product. So here again, when you observe the alcohol undergoing dehydration, what kind of alcohols we are going to employ? So how fast the alcohol undergo dehydration? So which alcohol is more preferable in this process for the preparation of alkenes? If you observe the ease of dehydration, generally the alcohol which is tertiary in nature is going to lose the water molecule very fastly, undergo dehydration very fastly compared with the alcohol which is secondary in nature, and which is more fast in dehydration compared with the primary alcohol. Again a question may arise in your mind, what is primary alcohol, what is secondary alcohol, what is tertiary alcohol? So primary alcohol means, so this is the alcohol in which the OH group, okay, OH group connected to primary carbon atom, While we are dealing the introductory part of organic chemistry, there we have come across the different carbon atoms. Even while we are dealing the alkanes chapter, there also we have dealt what is primary carbon atom, what is secondary carbon atom, what is tertiary carbon atom, what is quaternary carbon atoms. Okay. So here the OH group is connected to the primary carbon atom. In that case, it is considered as a primary alcohol. Okay. So in case of the alcohol in which if the OH group is connected to secondary carbon atom, then it is termed as secondary alcohol. Okay. In case of the alcohol in which the OH group is connected to tertiary carbon atom, if it is connected to tertiary carbon atom, we call it as tertiary alcohol. So you should have an idea what is primary carbon atom, what is secondary carbon atom, what is tertiary carbon atom. So the primary carbon atom, secondary carbon atom, tertiary carbon atom can be defined by the following example. I will give you examples. Based on the example, you can easily identify which is primary alcohol and which is secondary alcohol. So if we are going to write CH3 CH2OH, okay, CH3 CHOH CH3 and CH3 CH3 CH3OH. This is one more alcohol. Okay. So I have written 3 alcohols on the board, you can clearly see here, and if we observe here, so the OH group is present here, in this case here, and in this case here. Okay. So if we observe, the OH group is connected to one carbon atom, and this carbon atom in turn connected to only one carbon atom. It is attached to this carbon, okay, and this carbon in turn is attached to only one carbon and 2 hydrogens. So the carbon atom which is connected to only one carbon atom or non-carbon atoms is termed as a primary carbon atom. So since the OH group is connected to a primary carbon atom, so this should be a primary alcohol. It is a primary alcohol. Okay, right. If we observe the second molecule, in this case OH group is attached to this carbon. Okay. So this carbon in turn attached to 2 more carbon atoms, right side 1 carbon, left side 1 carbon. So we have totally 2 carbon atoms connected to this carbon atom, to which the OH group is present. If we observe this molecule, OH group is connected to the carbon atom, this carbon atom in turn connected to 2 other carbon atoms. So this carbon atom is termed as secondary. Okay, so this molecule is a secondary alcohol. So here the OH group is attached to a carbon atom which is secondary in nature. So this is secondary alcohol. If we observe the third molecule, this is the OH group, right, connected to this carbon. Okay, this is the carbon to which the OH group is connected, and this carbon in turn connected to how many carbon atoms? Above 1, below 1 carbon atom, other side 1 carbon atom. So it has 3 carbon atoms connected to it. Carbon atom which is connected to 3 other carbon atoms is termed as tertiary carbon atom. Okay. So tertiary carbon atom, so this should be the tertiary alcohol. This should be tertiary alcohol. So I think now you got a clear idea what is tertiary, secondary and primary alcohols, right? So ease of dehydration, how fastly the alcohol is going to participate in the reaction. If you observe, you can clearly say that the tertiary alcohol participate very fastly in the dehydration compared with the secondary. Secondary alcohol participate in the dehydration reaction fastly compared with the primary alcohol. Primary alcohol is least reactive, whereas tertiary alcohol is the most reactive. Okay, so most reactive is tertiary alcohol, least reactive is primary alcohol. Okay, let us see in the case of dehydration. For example, if we have a secondary and a tertiary alcohols, then there is a possibility of formation of 2 isomers. Okay. So in that case, the hydrogen atom is preferentially eliminated in such a way that we are going to have the of course the elimination takes place in such a way that the carbon which is having least number of carbon atoms, from that only the carbon hydrogen is eliminated, and thereby we get a product. Of course, this is generally called as Sturgeon rule. We will come across more about the Sturgeon rule while we are discussing the next elimination reactions. Okay. So here what is happening, the secondary and tertiary alcohols when they undergo dehydration, in that case if there is a possibility of formation of 2 isomers, in that case always one isomer is going to be formed in a major portion, other isomer is going to be formed in a minor portion. Okay. First let us discuss how the dehydration is going to take place. For example, if we are starting with the CH3 CH2OH, ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol on reaction with sulfuric acid, under heating conditions, it is going to lose one water molecule. One carbon atom losing the OH group, other carbon atom losing the hydrogen, and thereby we get corresponding alkene, ethene as a product. Ethyl alcohol on reaction with the sulfuric acid under heating conditions loses water molecule, produces alkene. Ethene is going to be obtained as a product. Okay. So we are getting ethene as a product here. Okay. So here what is happening, OH is removed from one carbon atom and one hydrogen is removed from the other carbon atom, and thereby water is lost in the process. So one carbon losing the OH, other carbon losing the hydrogen, and thereby water is lost in the reaction and we get alkene as a product. Alkene is going to be obtained as a product in this case. Okay. For suppose if we are dealing with the secondary alcohol like isopropyl alcohol, in that case if we are starting here CH3, CH, OH, CH3. So one carbon atom has a OH group, other carbon atoms will lose the hydrogen. Okay. So here if we observe, the OH is present on the second carbon atom. OH is present on the second carbon atom. Now there is a chance of removing hydrogen from here and here. Of course, you can remove anywhere, you will get only one kind of product. So hydrogen can be removed from here or hydrogen can be removed from the other carbon atom. In that process, what is the product that we are going to get? The product that we are going to get in that case is CH3, CH double bond CH2. So propene is obtained from the secondary alcohol, that is secondary alcohol, it is called as isopropyl alcohol. So isopropyl alcohol will give us propene as a product. Even primary alcohol, propyl alcohol will also give us alkene as a propene only. Okay. So we are going to get this product. But of course, in the case of secondary and tertiary alcohols, when we have 4 carbons or more than 4 carbon atoms, in that case the formation of 2 isomers will come into picture, and because of the formation of the 2 isomers that we are going to see, the different products are possible. In that case, the major product will be that product which is having the hydrogen will be lost from the carbon atom which is having least number of hydrogen atoms. Okay. If you see an example, you will come to know what is exactly this rule is. This rule is generally known as Saint-Jeff's rule. Okay. So let us proceed further to know the Saint-Jeff rule. So for example, here if we observe, here this is the OH group, okay, connected to a carbon atom. This carbon in turn connected to 2 other carbon atoms. So this is a secondary carbon atom. So this is a secondary alcohol. So we have a secondary alcohol in our hand and we are carrying out the reaction dehydration process by using 60% sulfuric acid at 373 Kelvin, that is around 100 degrees centigrade. We are going to get 1 butene and 2 butene, both are going to be obtained. But if you observe, the percentage of 2 butene is 80%, whereas 1 butene is only 20%. So that is to say that one of the alkene isomer is going to be obtained in a major portion, other is obtained in a minor portion in less amount. The compound which is obtained in a more amount is a major product, the compound which is obtained in less amount is minor product. Okay. So here 1 butene is the minor product, 2 butene is the major product. How this reaction is going on, how the elimination of water molecule takes place, how the dehydration is going to occur in this case. So if you observe the mechanism will give us a clear idea, and moreover here the product is formed, this product is generally called as Saint-Jeff's product. This is called as Saint-Jeff's product. Saint-Jeff product is always obtained. In this case, the hydrogen atom is lost from the carbon which is having least number of hydrogen atoms. Okay. Let us see how the Saint-Jeff rule is going to work and how we are going to get the major product in the reaction through the mechanism. Okay. So here what is exactly we are using the secondary alcohol. So this is the alcohol that is employed in the reaction. This is the alcohol that is employed in the reaction. So when you observe the mechanism, this mechanism takes place in 3 steps, let us say. Okay. First, the protonation of alcohol takes place, thereby we get a corresponding protonated alcohol. Protonated alcohol further loses the water molecule, gives us the corresponding carbocation which is undergo the elimination from the adjacent carbon atom, the hydrogen is lost and we get the alkene as a product. Let me see. So let us write the first step, step number 1. So what is happening? So in this case the protonation takes place. What do you mean by protonation? Protonation means addition of H plus. H plus is going to be added. We know that oxygen will have a 2 lone pairs on it. So this one of the lone pair will abstract this H plus from the acid. What kind of acid we are using in this reaction? we are using sulfuric acid. Okay. So, from the sulfuric acid H plus ions are produced. So, that H plus ion is taken up by the OH group of the alcohol. So, we get corresponding protonated alcohol, that will be CH3, CH2, CH, OH, and this side H. Since oxygen is giving its electron pair for bonding with the H plus, so it is having a positive charge, and we have CH3. So, this is known as protonated alcohol. This is called as protonated alcohol. So, protonated alcohol is formed from the alcohol by the attack of H plus on the alcohol, right. What happened in the next step? In the next step, the protonated alcohol loses water molecule. Okay. The protonated alcohol will lose the water molecule. So, here if you observe, so this is the protonated alcohol. Now, since the electronegativity difference, if you observe between the carbon and oxygen, oxygen is more electronegative. So, automatically this bond will go in favor of oxygen, it will go in favor of oxygen. So, what is going to happen in this case? So, thereby CH3, CH2, CH with a positive charge on the carbon plus CH3 plus H2O is lost in the process. So, H2O is removed as water molecule. So, this total portion will go out as a water molecule, and the carbon which is losing the oxygen atom will get a positive charge. What is this? This is carbocation. So, what is forming here in the dehydration process? See, carbocation formation takes place, and this is the slow step of this reaction. Okay. Then what happens after this? Now, here if you observe, beside this carbocation we have this side carbon with a hydrogen atom and this side carbon with a hydrogen atom. So, just observe this carbocation. Okay. So, third step we can write in a easy way as the third step, if you observe, we can write it as CH3, CH2, CH with a positive charge and CH3. Okay. So, if we observe here, the carbon atom having a positive charge is connected to the two other carbon atoms. This is carbon atom and this is the other carbon atom. Okay. So, and this has hydrogens and this is also having hydrogens. So, in that case, which hydrogen is to be lost, so that we can end up with the formation of alkene. So, here for suppose if this is going to be lose the proton, okay, this is losing the proton. In that case, let us say here the hydrogen is lost from here and this is the root A. So, when we are looking at the root A product, so we are going to get a CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2. So, we get one product as alkene. Okay. The other side, let us say if this is undergoing let us say here the proton is lost and this is the B root. So, according to root B, so if proton is lost in the process, what we get is CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. So, we get this as a product. So, according to the condition here, which proton has to be lost according to Sertjeff rule? Here if you observe, this carbon atom has 2 hydrogens, okay, and this carbon atom has 3 hydrogens. So, whenever in the dehydration is taking place with respect to the secondary and the tertiary alcohols, in that case always hydrogen is lost from the carbon atom which is having least number of hydrogens. Hydrogen is lost, H plus is lost, the proton is going to be removed from the carbon atom which is having least number of hydrogens. So, this carbon has 2 hydrogens only, whereas this side we have 3 hydrogens. So, what we have to observe is, first look at the carbocation that is formed from the loss of water molecule from the protonated alcohol. Okay. If beside this carbocation any number of carbon atoms present, look at those carbons, okay, and look at the number of hydrogens present around that particular carbon. So, here it is 3 and here it is 2. So, always remove the hydrogen from the carbon having least number of hydrogens. So, if you remove the hydrogen from here, we get a double bond between these 2 carbon atoms. So, we get a 2-butene as a product, and if this hydrogen is removed, we get a double bond between the first and second carbon atoms. So, we get a 1-butene as a product. So, this is 1-butene, okay. and this is 2-butene. So here 2-butene is formed as a major product, around 80% is this one, and only around 20% we are going to get the 1-butene as a product. So here the product formation is given by Saint-Jeff's condition. Always in the dehydration of alcohols, the proton is removed from the carbon atom having least number of hydrogens. It will give more substituted alkene. More the substituted alkene, more will be the stability. We have discussed even the stability of alkenes after isomerism, right? So if you recall the stability, more the hyperconjugative structures, more will be the stability. So more stability is possible in the case of 2-butene. So therefore 2-butene is going to be the major product that we are going to get in this case. Okay, right. For suppose if we are using the CH ethyl alcohol, I am writing CH3 as CH2 H and CH2. So, okay. So here what is happening, this hydrogen and OH are going to be lost in the process when we are using 60% sulfuric acid at 100 degree centigrade or 170 degree centigrade. So what we are going to get is CH2 double bond CH2 with the loss of water molecule. So water is going to be lost in the process. So OH is lost from one carbon and adjacent carbon loses the hydrogen. Okay. So the same thing is observed in the previous example as well. So I can elaborate the same reaction in this fashion. So the secondary alcohol that we have taken. So what is happening here? So here in this case, the hydrogen and OH on adjacent carbon atoms is lost in the process, and we are going to get the 2-butene as a major product. So major product that we are going to get is 2-butene. Okay. So this is how we can predict, or this is how we can look at the mechanism. So generally the dehydration of alcohols proceeds by 3 steps. First one is the protonation of alcohol, followed by loss of water molecule to get the carbocation. Carbocation further can be seen can undergo the hydrogen loss and give the product. Since the carbocation is involved in this reaction, so we can expect the rearrangements. While we are dealing the carbocations in the introductory part of the organic chemistry, whenever a reaction proceeds via the formation of a carbocation, there is always a possibility to get the rearranged products. So when we are looking at the rearranged products, we can take an example of the retropinacol rearrangement, or we can also call it as Wagner rearrangement. So Wagner rearrangement, if we observe, for example, if we are starting with the 3,3 dimethyl butane 2-ol, okay, 3,3 dimethyl 2-butone, this is an alcohol. Okay, the OH is present, OH is connected to a carbon atom, which in turn connected to 2 other carbon atoms, it is a secondary alcohol. Okay. So we have a secondary alcohol of this kind, which on treatment with the constant sulfuric acid and heating condition, what we are going to get? We are going to get a 2,3 dimethyl 2-butene as a major product, and a 2,3 dimethyl 1-butene is a minor product in this case. So how we are getting, since the methyl groups are present here, but when you observe the product, something rearrangement is took place in this reaction. So how the rearrangement is going to happen? The rearrangement products formation is mainly because of carbocation formation. This is what we have already discussed in the case of the carbocations. Let me explain the reaction, how the mechanism can be seen in this case. So here if we observe the OH group is present on this carbon atom. Okay. So here the OH group present on this carbon atom, which is secondary in nature, which on protonation, okay, losing, let us say, water molecule. I am including the step 1 and step 2 in one step only. So thereby what we are going to get? We get CH3, CH3, CH with a positive charge, and then CH3. So what kind of carbocation is this one? This is a secondary carbocation. So as I told you when we are discussing the introductory part of carbocation, always stability is main criteria. In order to get the stability, rearrangement takes place within the molecule. So what is going to happen in this case? For suppose if the total CH3 group along with the bonded pair of electron, if it is moving on to the carbocation, so what we are going to get in that case? So in that case methyl transfer is taking place. What is happening here? CH3 group is shifting from this carbon atom and going towards the other carbon atom. So which is shifting here? Methyl group is shifting, CH3 group is shifting. This is called as methyl shifting. This reaction is known as methyl shifting. Okay. So methyl shifting is taking place here, and we get the other product as CH3 after rearrangement of the carbocation. We get this carbocation, and if you observe this carbocation is a tertiary carbocation. Carbon having the positive charge is tertiary in nature. This is the carbon having the positive charge connected to 3 other carbon atoms. So it is a tertiary carbocation, and this is the carbon atom which is having the positive charge connected to 2 other carbon atoms. So it is a secondary carbocation. So carbocation is a secondary in this one is a secondary in nature, and this is tertiary in nature. Now it can easily undergo the hydrogen present here. The hydrogen that is present here can be easily lost, because if we observe the carbocation, this side we have carbon with the 3 hydrogens, and this side we have carbon with only 1 hydrogen. According to Sedgwick rule, the hydrogen present on the carbon atom which is having least number of hydrogen atoms should be eliminated. So if this is going to be eliminated, we are going to get the major product as CH3, C double bond, C, CH3, CH3. So 2-butene is going to be obtained as a major product. So again if we observe, we have these methyl groups are taken as substituents. So it is 2,3 dimethyl 2-butene is the product. 2,3 dimethyl 2-butene is the product that is obtained as a major product. So the major product formation clearly explained with the help of the rearrangement in this case. Okay, and Sedgwick rule is going to govern for the formation of the alkene as a major products. Okay. Yeah, we have one more method of preparation of alkenes, that is dehydrohalogenation of alkenes. Dehydrohalogenation. So here hydrogen as well as halogen both are lost. Dehydration means loss of water molecule. So here what we are mentioning, dehydrohalogenation, hydrogen and halogen both are removed. Dehydrohalogenation takes place from alkyl halides. So alkyl halides and dehydrohalogenation produces alkenes as a major product. This is the second method of preparation of alkenes, right. It involves which one? The dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides involves removal of halogen atom. A halogen atom is removed along with the beta hydrogen atom. What is happening here? Halogen atom is removed along with beta hydrogen atom on heating with alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide. So we are going to use alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide. How it is going to be prepared? Potassium hydroxide is a solid, it comes in the form of pellets. So take these pellets and dissolve in ethyl alcohol. So that solution is called as alcoholic potassium hydroxide. So by using this alcoholic potassium hydroxide, when you heat the alkyl halide, in that case halogen as well as one of the beta hydrogen is removed in the reaction, and thereby we get alkenes as the major products. For example, ethyl bromide. Ethyl bromide, generally we write it as CH3 CH2 Br. So we can write it as CH3 CH2 Br. Now CH2 Br I am keeping as it is, but CH3 I am writing it in the form of CH2 and H. So this total thing H and Br, H and Br is going to be lost from the molecule when it is heated in the presence of alcoholic potassium hydroxide. So when you heat it in the presence of alcoholic potassium hydroxide, we get alkene, along with that we get 1 mole of HBr. Okay. So here the halogen attached carbon is called as alpha carbon, and the carbon which is connected to that one is called as beta carbon. So here halogen is present here. So this particular halogen attached carbon is called alpha, and the next one is called beta. If we have still one, then we call it as gamma, delta, etc. For example, if we have a molecule like this CH3, CH2, 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 X. Okay, X is here any halogen. It can be chloro, bromo, anything. Okay. So the first carbon to which the halogen is attached is called alpha. The next one is called beta, then gamma. Okay, then we call it as gamma, and then delta. Okay, alpha, beta, gamma, delta carbons. So first carbon to which the halogen is attached is alpha carbon. The next carbon is taken as beta carbon. Then the next carbon is taken as gamma carbon. Then the next one is taken as delta carbon atom. So here what is happening? Halogen atom is removed along with that one of the beta hydrogen. Beta hydrogen means the hydrogen that is present on the beta carbon atom is removed in the process. So here both the atoms are removed from the adjacent carbon atoms by treatment with the potassium hydroxide alcoholic solution under heating conditions. We get alkene and hydrogen bromide, hydrogen halide. So alkene is going to be obtained in this reaction. So this dehydrohalogenation reaction involves the removal of halogen atom along with the beta hydrogen atom under heating conditions with the alcoholic solution of potassium hydroxide. Let us take one more example, CH3, CH, Cl, CH3. Okay. So this one, when we are treating it with the alcoholic potassium hydroxide under heating conditions, what is going to happen? So if we observe here, the halogen is attached to this carbon, so this is taken as alpha carbon, and this side it is beta carbon, that side it is beta dash carbon. Okay. So we have halogen attached to the carbon is alpha, this side is beta and that side is beta dash. Okay. So here what is going to happen? The hydrogen bromide is going to be removed and thereby we get CH3, CH double bond CH2. Okay. So we are going to get a product as alkene in this case, right? I think students, you got a clear idea how we are going to prepare the alkenes by using different methods. We will discuss some more concept about this dehydrohalogenation reactions in the next class. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you.